Hey guys, if you are watching this video, it means you wanted to challenge yourself and figure out how to factor a quadratic function in standard form when a does not equal 1. All right, so if we see here, we have y equals 4x squared minus 12x plus 8. So if this was the case right now, a is 4, B is a negative 12, and C is 8. All right, but that's an issue. If you guys remember last week, I told you that you can only use the X method if A equals 1, and it doesn't right now. So we have to get it so that A does equal 1, and then we can use the X method. So let me undo all this good stuff. All right, so this is where the greatest common factor comes in. What I'm going to do is I'm going to look at factors of A. So I would have, if A is 4, I would have 1 times 4 or 2 times 2. I'm then going to look at factors of 12, which is a negative 12, which is a lot, right? Because we have a negative. So let's see, I could do negative 1 times positive 12, positive 1 times negative 12, positive 6 times negative 2, negative 6 times a positive 2, positive 3 times negative 4, or negative 3 times a positive 4. All right, so that's a lot of factors because we have that negative there. And then last but not least, 8. So I could have 1 times 8 or 4 times 2. What you are hopefully noticing is that the greatest common factor is a positive 4. Okay, so I'm going to put that over here. We found out that the greatest common factor of A, B, and C, oops, I can't even write today, equals a positive 4. All right, so that's really important, and we're going to then end up pulling out that greatest common factor before we use the X method. So give me 1 second to erase this. I wish there was a better way to do this. Sorry guys, we'll just it's not gonna be perfect, but clean this up a little bit. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is then, I'm gonna go back to, I'm gonna rewrite this, 4x squared minus 12x plus 8. And what I'm basically going to do, you guys, is I'm going to divide each coefficient by the greatest common factor. So if I divide this, I'm going to divide this, and I'm going to divide this. All right. While doing that, I'm going to pull out the 4. All right. So 4 divided by 4 leaves me with 1x squared. Negative 12 divided by 4 leaves me with negative 3x. And then a positive 8 divided by 4 leaves me with a positive 2. All right, and when you see here, like now I can use the X method with this. All right, and I'm not gonna forget about the 4, but we're gonna just hold off on using it for a couple minutes. So now A equals 1, B equals negative 3, and C equals 2. Okay, so we're going to do my X method. A times C is going to be 2, and then I'm going to put negative 3 down here. I did this on purpose. It's a little bit more difficult. When we think of factors of 2, we usually just think, let me write this, factors of 2, right? We usually just think 1 times 2. But in this case, 1 plus 2 would then give me a positive. Let me move this up, actually. So that would equal 2. That's great. But 1 plus 2 gives me a positive 3. Well, I don't want a positive 3. I want a negative 3. So this is where you guys are it's a little bit more advanced. You're going to have to use your knowledge about multiplying positives and negatives to get what you want. I can multiply 2 negatives to get a positive number, and that's what we're going to have to do here. So I'm actually going to use factors negative 1 times negative 2, Well, -1 times -2 gives me a +2, so that's good. And now -1 plus -2, or we could just say -1 minus 2, that gives me a -3. So these are the factors that I'm going to use. So I'm going to use a -1 and a -2. I'm running out of room here. I'm going to write small. So what essentially I have to do is, before I put them in the format, I have to remember that I had a 4 out in the front. Okay, like we pulled out this greatest common factor here. I can't just forget that it exists. Okay, so I have to keep that 4 out there. And then I'm going to do everything the same. So I'm going to put my x's here. I'm going to plop this one in here, plop this one in here, and essentially this is now my answer. All right, one more thing I want to show you. Sometimes, I'm going to go to the next slide. So if we have y, let me see, we have y equals 4, I think it goes x minus 1 and x minus 2. All right, sometimes people will look at this as being not finished. And what they'll do is they'll distribute this 4 into the first set of parentheses, right? So that would give us 4x minus 4 times x minus 2. All right, and this could also be an answer. Again, all the same. These are still the same as I think we started with 4x squared minus 12x plus 8, right? All of these are equivalent. They are just in different forms, right? This one is standard, and these two are factored. The difference being the second one is a little bit more correct because it's just 2 binomials. So thanks, way to go for challenging yourself, and good luck.